What's up, everybody? It is Ben here with Stage Break episode number 5. We had a big silly season news week today, or throughout the week. Bunch of rides opening up, bunch of rides being filled, bunch of spots for 2022 opening up. We're going to see how it goes. We're going to see how it went throughout the week. We're going to have all the reactions to all the rides that got taken, and it's going to be a great show today. So let's get right into it with probably the biggest news of them all, the most anticipated ride to be filled within probably the last, maybe since Jeff Gordon, but we kind of knew who was going to take Jeff Gordon's seat. This 48 ride's been a mystery all damn year. And now we finally get the news break. Alex Bowman is going to be driving the 48 car in 2021. Now, people were excited because Alex Bowman, decent driver. People don't like Bowman because he doesn't really have a personality. I completely agree, but maybe if he becomes more competitive or maybe a change of scenery or whatever. I know he's still having Greg Ives as his crew chief, which is great, and I'm glad that they're staying as a pair because I feel like that's important, having chemistry. You don't want to switch things up everything for him, and if you're going to keep it in the business, might as well bring Greg Ives with him. If you sign someone like Larson for that ride, then maybe keep Cliff Daniels or bring someone new in. But Bowman was maybe the boring option because people wanted to have some news break and wanted Kyle Larson in the car. But with Bowman moving over, that opens up a fourth potential seat at Hendrick, which is still open for Kyle Larson. I know 57 is Kyle Larson's current number, and 57 is an old-time Hendrick number in the Xfinity Series, so that would be really sick to have a whole new number added to a team. I think that'd be really cool, start a whole new identity, and I think that's exactly what Kyle Larson should and kind of needs to do. So that would make 100% sense to me to put Kyle Larson in the 57 Hendrick Motorsports car. But with Alex Bowman moving over, it doesn't create certainty for even a fourth car. And I know downsizing has been a rumor for a while, or even if they should, but I don't think it'd be terrible if they did. I really think it would be awful if one of the biggest teams lost a car. Because look what happened to Roush. They were on top of the world, had 5 cars and 4 extremely competitive ones, and now they're barely struggling with 2. And that would be an absolute shame if we saw Hendrick Motorsports have that type of future. Even if Chase Elliott can win championships, and I think their equipment is still too strong to have that type of fall off right now. And I think that Chase can definitely win a championship, and Bowman is competitive enough, and Byron has been lighting it up, at least at the end of this season, has been much more competitive. And if you throw Kyle Larson in that mix, my God, that's 4 teams in the playoffs right there, if you ask me. I wonder if Jimmy Johnson had any say in really who he wanted to put in the car. I feel like if he were to pick anyone, Bowman would probably be a good option for him to choose. He probably wanted to keep it in the family, quote, for the sake of the prestige of the ride and what it means. And I think that's what they did with the 24 as well. You knew Chase Elliott was going to come up, and you knew Chase Elliott was going to take that car. And then it felt a little weird when they said, hey, Chase, we're going to give you this, and we're going to switch William Byron to the 24. You don't want to see a number with that much history be kind of swapped around and kind of just dealt out like that. So I hope Alex Bowman stays in the 48 for the rest of his career, honestly. That would be really dope. But I don't see him wanting to probably leave from Hendrick anytime soon, considering he's really the only team that gave him the full opportunity that he probably deserved. So I'm excited to see what he can do in the future of the ride and even the future of Hendrick with that completely open 4th spot. I think it makes the most sense for Kyle Larson to go there because with some other news that broke, Kyle Larson could potentially fill that ride, but I just don't think that is going to happen. I think that would absolutely screw over another driver. So Kyle Larson to the 57, 88, 25, 5, you make the choice, but Kyle Larson is hopefully and probably going to be driving that 4th Hendrick car. Downsizing would be absolutely tragic. I don't think anyone in the sport wants to see that at all. We're going to move it on to the next ride that was filled, and a great story for Daniel Suarez, getting a race for a whole new team next year. Trackhouse Racing, owned by Justin Marks, the number 99 car. Justin Marks leased the 77 charter from Spire, but Spire is still committed to running 2 full-time teams in 2021. Super excited to see what the new teams do. I know we're losing a few. We're losing Germain, we're losing Levine, but we're gaining the Michael Jordan, Denny Hamlin team, and now Trackhouse. So I hope they can be competitive for Daniel Suarez's sakes and for having a new team in the sport's sake. That'd be really cool to see a new team starting to be competitive, and I hope Daniel Suarez can just have the opportunity to be competitive, because he's been moved around for no real good reason, just because he hasn't won a cup race and money means everything. But that man has kept more sponsors than some drivers in like better full-time rides. So I mean, Coca-Cola sticks by him. I'm sure Justin Marks has some sponsorships lined up. I don't think that would happen if he didn't think it was going to be good. I don't know if Trackhouse or Truckhouse, what is it, Track or Truckhouse? Let me fact check myself, because I had Truckhouse written down, but now that I'm saying it, I feel like it's Trackhouse. Justin Marks, new team. I hope Justin Marks makes a couple starts on the road courses. I don't know if that's even a possibility, or it would probably have to be a non-chartered ride. Trackhouse. I had Truckhouse. My God. My observance is at 0 today. Trackhouse Racing. Okay. Trackhouse Racing. Again, Justin Marks making a couple starts, and if they just ran a second card non-chartered, I think he could probably qualify on time on a road course, especially one of the new ones. I don't know if it's in his plans or if he wants to do that, but I'm down to see him try. More opportunity for new drivers, adds the road course ringer aspect back a little bit, which is what I've been begging for, and all the new road courses gives plenty of opportunity for that to happen. So hope this team succeeds. Hope it's not another back marker. I don't think Justin Marks, I think, could get they have lines with Richard Childress, I believe. So getting in that Chevy camp, which means I don't know if you have an alliance with Richard Childress, that means you have an alliance with Hendrick now with the new engine system. Maybe just the engine department, they're getting their engines from Hendrick, or the combined engine that Hendrick and RCR are making. So hopefully they'll put out a fast car, because I can't deal with no slow Daniel Suarez, man. That guy deserves some top 10s and some top 5s, and hopefully his skill can show off. I can picture Daniel Suarez putting together some nice runs on some super speedways in that car next year, because he survived in the 96, and now he's got some Chevy power under him, got a lot more teammates in the field instead of the 4 other ones that he had this year. So I'm thinking that 99 car has some good runs, and having the 99 back, all these numbers, new teams, new everything, new schedule. It's so fresh in NASCAR now. It feels so fresh. We're getting new names, new owners, everything. Oh, it feels so cool to, like, every day that comes out, or every other day, I feel like we get a new news story that is conversation worthy, and something that you can carry on and be excited about until we see it next year. So Daniel Suarez, Justin Marks, I think they're going to put together hopefully a top 25 point season. I think that's all you can ask from a new team. Be inside that top 30, top 25. I think Daniel Suarez is good enough to be in the top 25 in points in my eyes. So I hope that team can stick around. I hope they don't just have a 1 year and then maybe not be competitive enough or not find enough sponsors and can't continue. So hope the sponsors roll in, hope the top 5, top 10s roll in, and hell, maybe even a win for Suarez. That'd be sick. I don't think anyone would be complaining about that if it had happened. More news. Matt DiBenedetto to the 21 in 2021. Yes, not one person didn't want to see that. Wood Brothers announced it. Everyone was pumped. I'm sure they were getting bombarded with, please put Matty D back in the car, because everyone loves him. I think it's a good business move, even if Matty D doesn't win a race next year. Cindric is slated to run that car in 2022. So Matty D, again, given a 1-year deal to show what he can do, and hopefully he can get a win and finally just nab a long-term deal, even if it's 2 years. Just give that man that guy has to be in the Cup Series. He has shown that he is one of the better drivers in the field. He can make the playoffs. People like, I was watching Door Bumper Clear, and they were saying that 21 car is one of the best cars in the field. I don't really buy that. I don't think that's true at all. I think it's a 4th Penske car, and it runs like a 4th Penske car. It runs exactly as much, like it runs just as good as the 2400 car. It runs just as good as the 20 Gibbs car. So it's not its own entity powerhouse. It's a 4th Penske car. I don't think it's expected to win every season. I think that's asinine, because it's won twice in the past 10 years. So if you do the math, when did Blaney win that race? 2016, 17? In 2022, 23, that car will win again. But it looks like Cindric getting that car in 2022. Cindric is going to run some races next year, probably for a 4th Penske car. Part-time, you'd assume that he'd be on the road courses, and he could probably even win one of those races. I expect a couple top 10s out of Cindric next year, at least, if he gets some road course starts. But him or Matty D, one of them is going to win next year, but it's only going to be one of them. And that is going to determine the future of... If Matty D doesn't win, I can't tell you that he gets a good ride, because people want money, people want success, and if you can't prove that you can't win, it's going to be another Daniel Suarez situation where he gets thrown to a back market for a season and then hopefully gets another opportunity from someone who sees the talent that he actually has. I don't think that you have to win immediately. I think Matty D I don't even think is 30, and Driver's Prime is well into their 30s. So to have this guy just sit on the bench and sit in the Xfinity Series, or honestly, if Matty D had to run an Xfinity Series season and win a couple races, I think that's the best case scenario, because I think that's how most drivers should transition. I hate the Matty D kind of just worked his way up and worked hard, kind of like a Corey LaJoie, or he didn't win nothing. Matty D was like a midfield Xfinity driver when he found a Cup Series ride and then started actually performing and got that 32 car, had a good run at Bristol, and people started to notice his name. Got that 95 ride, and then the Bristol happened, and people started to fall in love with him. Paul Menard picks him for the 2021, and I mean the 2021. Paul Menard picked him for the 21 car. And man, the guy can't catch a break. Finishes second, gets penalized. Finishes second to the same guy last year. And you just want to see this guy succeed. It's like it's a Cinderella story that you want to see the happy ending to. And I think it's bound to come. This man is too competitive, putting himself in too good enough of situations to not pull one of these together. I'm pretty sure that's his second place finish of the year. Or it wasn't. He didn't even get second place because he got penalized, but we'll call it a second place finish. I'm pretty sure he finished second at both Las Vegas races and now this Talladega race. So, man, Matty D is there. He is right there. He is on the cusp, but he just has to break through. And once that breakthrough happens, he is set. You can't not have that man in the field even today, but if he gets a win, you have to have that guy in your car if you're a team owner and need someone. And I think after 2021, Penske or Ford or whoever is going to be okay with letting Matty go, even if he wins. And they're going to leave it up to whatever team says, hey, we want this guy. We think he's fit for our ride. And hell, I'd even put Matty D in that fourth Hendrick car if Larson doesn't become an option, or if Larson takes another ride that is available, that just became available, but we can all assume who's going to take it. We're going to talk about that one next, but I wanted Matty D to get that 100th win, and I want him to get that 100th win for Wood Brothers so bad. That milestone has been talked about forever. That win for him, just regardless of the meaning of the 100th win, just one win for Matty D would be an absolute spectacle. And everyone wants to see it, I promise you, except for that one guy on Twitter that was shitting on Matty D. That guy can screw off, because who the hell shits on Matty D? How can you watch this guy? How can you watch one interview from this man and be like, wow, I really don't like this guy? It's just not human. That's just not human, because this guy is the most personable, relatable person you want to succeed in the sport that I have seen in a long time, for sure. Maybe you can nab that 14 car if shit goes awry, because Clint Bowyer announced his retirement last night from racing after the conclusion of the 2020 season. He's going to be in the Fox broadcast booth in 2021, which is fire. I'm happy that he is one of the drivers making the transition. I think he's going to be one of the best and one of the most exciting analysts that NASCAR has to offer. It's going to make Fox exciting, because NASCAR and Fox kind of feels like the grandfather, right? So it's proper. It's got the legends of the sport doing it. It had Darrell Waltrip, Larry Mack, Mike Joy, all these guys that have the utmost knowledge of the sport's history for probably since the damn inception of it. Not saying that they're old, but I mean, they were on the older end of the lifespan spectrum, if you ask me. And then you got NBC Sports, which feels like the weird but sometimes funny uncle. Like sometimes NBC Sports will have a fire broadcast, and Dale Jr. will be spitting some facts, and it'll be exciting, and it'll be a great race. And other times you're just like, bro, shut the hell up. You're talking too much. You're saying some dumb stories. I don't want to hear this right now. And adding some of that spice and flavor and excitement and personality to Fox is huge. And I think that it's going to even out the broadcast and make it more exciting to listen to, because Clint can keep you on your toes and make you laugh, and even if he's not trying, just his personality is something that you want to listen to, and it's exciting. And having him and Jeff in the booth with, like, they're basically rivals, and I love the idea of having rivals in the booth. I don't know if Dale Jr. really has one, or if Jeff Burton and Jeff Gordon were in the same booth. Maybe they had that one incident, but having people who fiercely competed against each other while they were on the track now calling races together and sharing opinions with each other, it's gonna be fun, exciting, hearing it every week. Clint killed it every time he did the iRacing. He killed it every time he did an Xfinity race, and most drivers really do great when Xfinity brings people in the booth. But Clint is exceptional, and Clint is going to be exciting to watch. But who is going to fill the 14 car? Two options in my eyes, and only one is going to really actually happen. Because if Kyle Larson fills this ride, that is absolutely disrespectful to Chase Briscoe. Chase Briscoe said, I got to win 8 races. Pretty sure he's won 9 already, if not 10. And you're telling me that you've groomed this guy, you've put him in situations, he's probably going to win this championship. And if he wins this championship and Kyle Larson gets put in this 14 car, if I'm Chase Briscoe, I'm out. I'm not staying with Stewart-Haas. There is other. I hope he goes to Hendrick if Kyle Larson gets this 14 car, because Chase Briscoe can't be put on the shelf. Even if Austin Cindric is getting put on the shelf, I think Matty D isn't retiring. The seat isn't completely opening up. He got re-signed. So if you take Clint Bowyer out and put in Kyle Larson, Chase Briscoe is going to be in the Xfinity Series again, which, I mean, rack up all the wins you want. I think he's ready for the Cup Series, and I'm all in for having people take as much time as possible before being pushed up to the Cup Series, because I think it's just going to benefit their career in the long run, no doubt. But he set a goal out for himself. He has probably exceeded everyone's expectations, even in Stewart-Haas and Stewart-Haas Racing, including theirs. He has absolutely exceeded all expectations. I couldn't tell you anyone was going to come out and win 8-10 races in any series this year, so including the Harvick and Hamlins of the world. And Briscoe is doing just exactly what Kevin Harvick is doing in the Cup Series in Xfinity right now. And most likely going to walk away with that championship. So I can't sit here and say Chase Briscoe is not going to be in the Cup Series next year. The Austin Cindric being laid back, I can understand. Austin Cindric didn't prove he was a race car driver until Kentucky weekend. Everyone was like, oh, this guy's just a road course driver. He's got to do it on an oval. And he won like 5 out of 6 races. It's somewhere definitely on a road course, but I mean, he has won plenty of oval races this year and been the second most competitive car behind Chase Briscoe for sure. It's been a 1-2 show between him and Briscoe. So keeping them both in the Xfinity Series in 2021, I think is a shame to both of them, because if Briscoe moves up, then Cindric is the clear favorite for the championship next year. So if you're Ford and you're like, hey, we have both of these drivers coming up in our program, we can put Briscoe in the Cup Series right now and get him ready if he wins the championship, and then we can get another championship next year if Briscoe's out of the series and Cindric just continues to dominate. So Ford has a lot of decisions to make. Larson would fit better with Hendrick. I know Stewart's been vocal about getting him in the Cup Series, and it seems clear like, hey, Stewart wants this guy here, but when you have someone like Chase Briscoe in the reins and he's right there, you can't just walk away from that. You can't just say, hey, we're going to make you wait another year, because I don't think Kyle Larson is going to get signed to a 1 year. Kyle Larson's good enough to get a long-term deal. So I hope that right decisions are made, because I can't sit and watch an Xfinity Series next year with 2 guys still winning every single race. You know, part of the Xfinity Series is disparity and people moving and drivers moving up and drivers getting new rides. Like Riley Herbst was a rumor to get this 98 Stewart-Haas car if Briscoe were to move up, because JGR apparently wants to get Ty Gibbs some rides in the 18 car, which, I mean, fair enough. He's the only extremely competitive driver in ARCA, it seems, this year. Every time I get a notification about it, Ty Gibbs won the race. So skipping trucks entirely, questionable, but getting him some Xfinity rides would be nice. I also heard that they're trying to make that 18 JGR car like an all-star team, basically, with getting Denny in the car and Kyle Busch some starts too. And you can assume they'd throw some other people in there for other starts. Maybe Eric Jones doesn't even have a ride still, but I can't imagine him staying with Toyota. So hopefully he gets like the Richard Petty car or something relatively competitive to keep him in the field and doing some good stuff in NASCAR. But man, I'm even worried. If Chase Briscoe moves up, I'm not confident that Stewart-Haas even stays in the Xfinity Series. You only have 2 Ford cars, and you probably want to... Chase Briscoe is the last prospect I see coming through. But if you're Stewart-Haas, you have people like Almirola and Harvick who are getting to the latter halves of their career, so maybe you want to keep this Xfinity program and just set yourself up for the future. I think it's smart, but again, I'm not confident with the price of NASCAR that they're even going to have an Xfinity team next year, because they had the 00 and the 98. 00 did great last year. They said, screw that, we're just keeping Chase. So I hope they keep it a 1 car. I think it's going to be good to have a development program like that in the Xfinity Series for a top class team, for probably the class team right now. So it's going to be interesting to see. Chase Briscoe better land that ride. Riley Herbst in the 98. Okay. Riley Herbst hasn't done much for me to say, hey, you deserve this opportunity. But again, no promise that they stay with Herbst, even if he gets the sign there. But all hypotheticals, we don't even know what's going to happen tomorrow. We don't know what's going to happen in an hour if Kyle Larson gets announced for anything or Chase Briscoe gets announced for anything. But I assume Stewart-Haas is probably going to wait till the end of the entire season, see how Chase Briscoe pans out, see how the Xfinity Championship goes, and then maybe make a decision. Or they probably know that it's going to be him, but just wanting to have him focus on one sole goal, and that's win one championship right now. I think that's the smart way to go about it, so don't expect to hear any news on that ride until mid-November, if not right after the week following the final race at Phoenix. The NBC booth is going to be at the rest of the races remaining in the schedule, which I think is dope. They've been in the Charlotte Motor Speedway booth just about, I believe, every single time. And they're going to be at Charlotte this week, so perfect opportunity to actually get to call a race. And it's you notice the difference when they're not at the track versus when they're just watching the broadcast with you, because I'll notice, like, right when Tyler Reddick and Christopher Bell spun on lap 1 at Talladega, I immediately noticed carnage happening, and the announcers were not addressing it. So I was like, whoa. I want people to be able to see everything, because if one person's looking at the monitor, maybe Dale Jr.'s looking at the actual cars, or someone sees smoke out of the peripheral, and they're like, oh, hey, we got some problem on the track. And just having the vision of, they can tell you things that the fans can't see, and that's something that I've missed, and I think that is needed. And I think it's great that they're going to be able to call the most important races of the season. Phoenix is going to be a blast, and just having them back at the booth is going to better visuals. You're not going to see them in the booth and just see a blank track at Charlotte with nobody in it. You're going to see fans. You're going to see cars on track. I'm excited. I think that it makes sense. I understand why they did it. It makes sense to keep them in Charlotte and just to keep it the most isolated possible and keep everybody in one spot. But if everyone else within NASCAR can travel, and I think that you can fit 10 to 15 more people that I'm sure get tested anyway if they're going to be with each other working at Charlotte, they can get tested and go to Texas, Martinsville, Kansas, Phoenix, the rest of the tracks absolutely too, I believe. So it's going to be nice, a nice change of pace, something new. In the last little bit of news, Hailie Deegan is going to make her truck debut at Kansas, not this weekend, but the following weekend. Not a little other news just got announced this morning. Timothy Peters is going to be driving the 52 car at that race, or the 52 truck. I was under the impression it was Christopher Bell. I don't know if that was a late change. I don't know if the Cup guys running playoff races mattered this time, because I know when it was announced it was kind of not an issue for whatever reason, but that got changed to Timothy Peters, which is going to be cool. I'm much happy to have Timothy Peters in that car than Christopher Bell, because Timothy Peters should be in the Truck Series anyway. He makes great cameos, and hell, he even have opportunities to win, or he flips in those cameos. So Timothy Peters puts on a show no matter what his number is, where he's racing. Timothy Peters is going to be fun to watch. And if he finishes better than we thought Stewart did, that's not good for Stewart. Not good at all. And Timothy Peters is a more than reputable driver and has the capability to finish top 5 whenever the hell he wants. But Stewart has had probably the worst season that we've seen that 52 truck have since he's been a part of the series. And with no Eldora, that's where we expect Stewart to be fast. I mean, it has just been a rough season for him. And Christopher Bell probably would have outperformed him, but having someone like Timothy Peters come in, and if he can say, hey, this is where you guys are lacking because he's accustomed to the trucks, or hey, this is where you can get better, or this is what I like, just any information from an outside source on a team that's struggling that bad, I think is good. Even if it's just for one race, and hey, Stewart might win that dirt race, get some money, put it into the truck after what Timothy tells him, and maybe they can have a good end of the season and lead into something next year. But Hailie Deegan is going to make her truck debut for DGR in the 17. That 17 was Ankrum last year, but I had just started noticing that that truck has kind of come back. It had, trying to think who had been driving it. Blank in my mind, regardless. But they had been running, who was the DGR car? Tanner Gray, I believe, is a DGR. And he's been doing extremely well this year, but I haven't seen that 17 car all that much. But Hailie Deegan is going to be driving it. I don't expect her to finish even in the top 10. And I don't think she needs to win at all, but in my eyes, she needs to seem competitive. She needs to seem like she can make passes and seem like she can do this next year on a full-time basis. If she is running 24 3 laps down off speed, yikes. But I think that the truck is good enough to maybe keep her alive. I think a top 20 is a success. I know for everyone's first start, everyone says, I just want to complete all the laps. So I just want her to seem competitive. I don't want her to seem like a bust. I don't want, even if she's not, it's one race, it means nothing. But if she is going to get lit up, if she doesn't seem fast, and I don't know if she's ready for that because her interaction with fans have been mixed recently, and I think she needs to gain as much support as possible because I think she's losing more people than she's gaining people with maybe how people have been perceiving her actions, even if it's over-exaggeration from the fans or Haley actually being non-observant and not really caring what people think and just living her own 18-year-old life. But she needs to smarten up a little bit. We'll see how the performance on track goes, and I think that can change every opinion that has ever been made of her if she can compete. And I don't expect her to even finish top 10, top 15 at Kansas, but just to be there at the end, to be able to have an interview, to run, I assume they're going to run probably like 160 laps, to run 160 laps, just be there, show that you can compete, show that you earn respect from drivers, competitors, fans, just do the best you can, and people will fall behind you. But you just got to be smarter on the social medias, Haley. Got to be a little smarter on the social medias. Can't be saying all this wild shit and then expecting to have fans next time you go to a race when you're not winning shit. And then forgetting that other girl's name, coming out and being the first girl to win an ARCA race, and Haley Deegan sitting there like, I thought I was the girl in ARCA. Like, nah, you gotta pick up your shit, girl. Come on, let's go. Get to the front. And I'm pretty sure it's a Stewart Haas influenced car that she's driving in ARCA, and Stewart Haas is the best in literally every other series. So it's going to be an interesting race. Probably going to be the focal point. I don't believe it's a cutoff race. It's the first race of their last round. So I assume that as people are going to be gunning to the front, it's going to be the same characters, but Haley Deegan is probably going to be the focal point of that race. So I hope she pulls it together. I really do. If I had to predict a finishing position for her, I'll give her 17th in the 17 truck. I think she has the capability and the speed inside the truck to get that top 20. It's just a matter of making the right decisions and understanding, especially with no practice. I don't know if she's ever driven a truck before, but I can't imagine it being easy. I honestly expect her to maybe have a little trouble and lose it off of 4 or something once during the race, but a comeback top 20 is in the sights for Haley Deegan, and that's my prediction. I think that's how it's going to go. But I'm so excited with all this silly season news coming out. I mean, it seems one day after another we get a new team or a new opening or someone retires, and it's that time of the season, and there's still some rides that need to be filled, still some drivers that need some places to go. So the upcoming weeks with silly season is going to be so fun. This has been a good episode of the Stage Break. Been a great day. Getting more hero cards by the day. Gonna put them up on the wall. Finally, maybe get a video going for this podcast or something like that. I got mad. I can put a flag up. I got mad other posters I can fill across this little basement area I got going. So we going up in the world, boys and girls. This is gonna be fire. Thank you for tuning in if you did. Ben the NASCAR guy on Twitter. Make sure you follow. Make sure you hit a subscribe if you like the podcast. Let me know. Be in the comments. Be active. I'll reply to you as always. It's been a great day. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy Kansas. Enjoy, where are we this week? We're at the Roval, baby. Ooh, the Roval. We all know Chase Elliott going to win that race. We all know Chase Elliott going to dominate everything on a road course in the future. But other than that, boys and girls, enjoy your day. Ben the NASCAR guy out.